Hey guys, some Gamer Dude here. I like Thunderbreak Dragon a lot. He sparked a lot of joy. I had an inkling that Gauntlet Buster might run into a similar theme, but didn't expect him to be Narukami the greatest hits. Gauntlet Buster quite literally incorporates every one of Narukami's iconic traits, and a new one I've quite enjoyed, Magnetism. Here's your bog-standard main boss for an Excel clan with two effects. Continuous on Vanguard, he gains +5, +1 critical for each opponent's rearguard circle that is open in their front row. So either +10, +2 critical, or +15, +3 critical, average depending on opponent. Act on Vanguard Circle, pay CB1, and pitch a card to bind your opponent's front row, and then you may drag any of the back row to the front row. Unlike Thunderbreak, he cannot drag out the Vanguard booster. While it may not appear it, Gauntlet Buster is a modular card and a fantastic design, all thanks to that secondary effect being partially optional. Early game, he can keep the opponent's front row clear to keep himself in the kill zone. At 3 damage and 22,000 unboosted without triggers and unaffected by other cards' effects, he's securely in Perfect Guard, Vomit Hand, or just die territory. As the game progresses and your opponent takes more damage, the secondary effect of the act comes into play. By just being the Vanguard and having criticals, he's threatening to kill by just attacking. So clogging up the front row with rearguard, then using whatever attacks don't have threat to kill to swing out the rearguard, he drains the opponent of all resources and just easily destroys them from there. It's a lot more gradual than something like Blade Master, but he's also not an explosion card. He's working on grinding the opponent down, much like traditional Aquaforce of all things. Spectacle Narukami operating in theory like my favourite form of Aquaforce. Pujiro plays can only get so erect here. But he does have a few other nuances. He doesn't actually promote re-riding like most Excel Grade 3. So how he modulates from early game to late game is actually quite good. He could arguably go for Excel 1 if you game enough for it. Normally that pitch 1 would be a complete pain in the rear to fuel, especially in an Excel clan. But Rising Phoenix has got you covered. Pitch it, something is bound, he's already in the drop, he resurrects and gives something +3,000. Gauntlet is actually the best application of Phoenix in V. Otherwise, he just promotes early guarding, and Tectonic's drill is rather slow. As for support, Thunderbreak makes a perfect alternate boss. Only maybe 2 cards you'd want to run in the deck, Zultan and Rising Phoenix, don't work with Thunderbreak, and honestly, you're probably just going to go into Gauntlet Buster as soon as possible anyway to maximize synergy. Speaking of Zultan, he really brings the smackdown too. +5,000 to himself and all Gauntlet Buster when something is bound. Another +20,000 spread across 2 units right there most of the time. And Gauntlet Buster is now 32,000 unboosted with 3 damage, while Zultan himself is 19,000 unboosted. Also keep in mind that he mentions all Gauntlet Busters, and I said the deck doesn't really need to re-ride, so you can just start building these colossal columns easily. Either jam criticals on them early, or if you're at the point where the Vanguard threatens to kill by just attacking the Vanguard, anything without a killing blow has a ton of power to just slam into any rearguard dragged into the front row. Plus he has Tidal Assault skill of at the end of a battle if he attacked the Vanguard and a condition is met. Here, your opponent having no rearguard in the front row, he can go into the soul to draw you a card. It has its uses. From here, Chowo and Death Scythe have their uses, especially Chowo. Thunderstorm Dragoon is basically completely out now, but I do want to draw attention to Turning Bash Dragon. It's only a common, so I doubt it's caught anyone's attention, but if you choose to drag your opponent's rearguard early on, you can start binding them. Sets off Zultan more. You're not using Soul. Only one other card does, and I'm not convinced it's even necessary. Drains your opponent's resources further, clears up the front row for Gauntlet Buster. Plus, if you have to ride Rising Phoenix, you can +1 with him. I think Turning Mech out here has a lot going for him. Solid guy. I wanted to mention another card that uses Soul and could be considered for the deck. That would be Doran here. When you pitch a card for a Vanguard cost, if he's in the front rows, Soul Blast 2 to draw a card. It's 8,000 though, and it doesn't work as nicely as Turning Bash Dragon does with Rising Phoenix. I don't even think he's worth considering. Desert Gunner Gaiban is fairly interesting though. Since Gauntlet Buster can automatically put himself into kill territory, setting up a situation with Zultan that is so big he's into Perfect Guard territory himself, between his own effect and any criticals forced on him, Gaiban can fix himself behind Zultan and force the opponent to vomit their hand by forbidding them from using Perfect Guards, or force them to just take it like a man. There are some other uses with Tectonics, is pretty versatile, but I thought it was worth mentioning. The final card I want to mention is Bolt Capture Dragon. He's fairly simple. When placed, your opponent chooses one of their back row and it's magnetized to the front row. it can be dragged across lines, so you can go for the Vanguard booster and makes a really nice early game card if your opponent hasn't filled up their front row yet. Another target for Gauntlet Buster. Mid-game, if you just want to drag up the Vanguard booster after Gauntlet Buster's effect, you can swing in with Turning Back Dragon to take that out too. Late, it has similar applications to the early game. It just does a lot. If you're fighting Excel on the second swing of Gauntlet, he can start dragging out the back, accelerating the process. He's a really neat card. Narukami turned out well. It's got a lot of strong cards, managed to encapsulate everything Narukami into one build, and doesn't look bad on paper. Reality will show if it's as good as it looks. It's still costing you cards if you can't manage to use Rising Phoenix, and Excel Clans can be a bit on the fragile side, but I think it shows a lot of promise. At the very least, I think it's got a ton of appeal and is nowhere near as awkward looking as Tsukuyomi. This has been Some Gamer Dude, and thanks for watching.